We breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. Hello, I am Benedict Ofo. Welcome to my channel. Today we will talk about something that is very, very important for all living things, for us, for other animals. But before we go into it, let us first of all demonstrate something. Please, I want you to participate. Just breathe in and out. If you wonder why I'm demonstrating this, because we will talk about oxygen. I titled oxygen, a gift from plants. Yes, from plants. Maybe you wonder why you can go days, you can go weeks without eating food, but you cannot go days without breathing in air. We are taught in primary and secondary schools that we breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. Now it's called carbon dioxide. But I don't think we went into details or we understood where this oxygen was actually coming from. It's from plants, like green plants. There are plants called phytoplanktons, like all those blue-green algae found on the surface of oceans and seas. They contribute as well, and some green bacteria. So we will unpack, we will explain it here today. Like as I always say, the objective of our 4-Green agenda is to make sure that people on the grassroots, people in the communities, people that are not scientific inclined understand what this plant is. Okay, it's important for us to know what we use. Imagine oxygen without knowing where oxygen is coming from. Like, can you seize your breath? Can you seize your breath for hours? It's not possible. So today we explain which part of the plant the oxygen is produced from and the uses of oxygen, both in medicine, metallurgy, in rocketry, etc., etc. First of all, what is oxygen? Oxygen is a chemical element, very reactive. I don't want to go into the periodic tables of atomic and mass number of oxygen, but for simplicity's sake, I'll try my best to make sure that I carry everybody along. So stay tuned, don't go away, watch to the end so that you will understand and you will value plants today because they produce oxygen that we use. So atmosphere, like Earth's atmosphere, is made up of layers of gases that surrounds our planet. So according to NASA, nitrogen contributes to 78% of the atmospheric air, then oxygen 21%, then 1% is shared amongst other gases like hydrogen, helium, carbon dioxide, neon, etc. There are what we call aerosols as well that are part of this atmospheric air, such as dust, smokes. There is even water vapor present in the atmosphere. So we cannot talk about oxygen from plant without mentioning what is called chloroplast. Chloroplast is the organelle that's part of the plant cells. You know, in the plant cells we have nucleus, we have ribosomes, we have mitochondria, etc. We are interested in chloroplast today. You know why? Photosynthesis. This is a word or a term we all know. You have heard it before or you have studied it before. Maybe you didn't pay attention properly. Photosynthesis can be defined as a process by which plant makes food. And then who eats the food? We do. We just eat the food, we don't even care. The process by which plant makes food is called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. Photo means light. Photo means light. Synthesis means to generate a component from a smaller component. So it means that with light, plant produces something. And what does plant produce? Food. Photosynthesis is the reaction of carbon dioxide with water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll to produce sugar and oxygen. The oxygen is released to the atmosphere, and then the sugar plant uses for its growth and development, and then we, you know what I mean, we take and eat. So now, these are the factors that plant requires for photosynthesis to take place: carbon dioxide or carbon dioxide, sunlight, chlorophyll, water. Plant need this to make food and oxygen. So when I talk about chloroplast, the chloroplast, inside the chloroplast is what is called stroma and grana. Stroma is the species where grana is located. This grana is arranged in a cylindrical membrane called thylakoid membrane. This thylakoid is where things happen. That is where electron transfer happens. So listen, pay attention here. Let me break it down. So what happens in thylakoid membrane is that the sunlight comes and strikes the pigments. That is what is called photosystem 2 and photosystem 1. These are where these things happen. Okay, this whole photosynthesis takes place. So now, when sunlight strikes the pigment absorbs the sunlight. Then what happens is that there is a series of transfer of electrons. Okay, that happens. The carbon dioxide combines with water and produces sugar and oxygen. So now we have to unpack the oxygen we breathe. Does this come from carbon dioxide or does this come from water? Actually, carbon dioxide is a carbon source used in making sugar or the glucose. Then water is split by what is called photolysis. Photo means light, lysis means to break or to cut something. So now the light comes and then splits the water into hydrogen or proton, electrons, and oxygen. So now the oxygen now diffuses out to the atmosphere through what is called stomata. Stomata is kind of opening. It has kind of gas cells. There's the gas cells that regulates the movement of gases and other, like water, in and out of the plant. So sometimes bacteria or pathogens as well take advantage of plants or the stomata and attacks the plant by entering through the stomata. And plant has a way, it has a hormonal regulation of the whole opening and closing of the stomata. So the hydrogen that went out now can combine in the formation of the sugar. This is to tell you that the oxygen that you breathe comes from the water, not from the carbon dioxide. Okay, so now let us talk about the uses. I have kind of tabulated 8 uses of oxygen. There are more. Number 1, in our respiration, we breathe in oxygen and then it goes to the lungs. In lungs is where carbon dioxide swaps with oxygen. What happens? There's red blood cell that carries oxygen. It carries the carbon dioxide is a waste product. Now in the lungs, what happens is that oxygen swaps and then the red blood cell carries oxygen to all parts of our body where oxygen is required for metabolic activities and other uses of oxygen inside our body. I will not go into detail with that. So now the carbon dioxide we breathe out is one of the contributors of the global warming. I will not go into details of the global warming or the climate change contribution of carbon dioxide. We can discuss that in another video. Number 2, uses of oxygen in medicine. Oxygen is used as a therapy, oxygen therapy, like people who are suffering from pneumonia, asthma, sleeping apnea, most recently COVID-19 patients. There is a way oxygen can be compressed in a cylinder and then introduced to make breathing easier for these patients. By so doing, quickens recovery. Another use of oxygen is in metallurgy. You know, people that do welding, oxygen is mixed to hydrogen, oxyhydrogen touch, or oxygen can be mixed with acetylene, oxyacetylene touch, at a temperature of more than 3000 degrees Celsius. These are light of high intensity that can be used to cut metals or weld metals together. Oxygen is also used in rocketry. It requires oxygen and hydrogen, liquid hydrogen combination that provides the thrust required to propel the space. The deep sea divers also uses oxygen. You see, they dive so deep into the river or ocean. They require, sometimes you see them carry this cylindrical stuff at the back. That's oxygen that is mixed with other gases to make sure that they breathe properly inside the sea. It's used in sewage treatment and water purification plants. So what happens is that you pump oxygen into the water, and now it increases the multiplication of microbes that degrades the waste products like sewages by sodium purifying the water. Mountaineers, they use, our mountain climbers, they use oxygen as well, because the higher the altitude, the less oxygen pressure you have. Now they need oxygen to breathe properly on top of the mountain. Oxygen is used as a sterilizing agent. So sufficient supply of oxygen can actually kill anaerobic microbes. Like anaerobic are microbes that don't use oxygen. Okay, so you can use it to sterilize your equipment. There are a whole lot you can use oxygen for. We just selected few of them, like 8. You see why we need to respect plants. You see why we have to give plants the respect they deserve. We don't have to destroy our ecosystem. We don't have to destroy our vegetations. We have to plant more. We have to respect, conserve our resources. Okay? So stay tuned on my channels. I promise I will bring more. We cannot be inside the box. Anything concerning plants, come to this channel. You're going to see them. We're going to unpack them one after the other. Bye. Thank you.